Ever feel like the world is pushing you to act, but Stoicism teaches you the most powerful thing you can do is nothing? In a world where we're often expected to react, whether to a comment, an insult, or a challenging situation, it can be hard to understand the power of doing nothing. Yet, Stoicism offers us a counterintuitive lesson. Sometimes the strongest response is silence and detachment. By stepping back and not immediately reacting, we create space for wisdom, clarity, and self-mastery. The power of Stoic silence. The concept of Stoic silence goes beyond simply staying quiet in the face of conflict. It's about cultivating a mental space where your thoughts and actions are not dictated by external chaos or emotional reactions. It's about choosing when to speak and when to act, guided by reason rather than impulse. Relevance in modern life. In modern life, this power move can be a game changer in both personal relationships and professional settings. Whether it's resisting the urge to engage in a petty argument, holding back from reacting to office gossip, or remaining composed in the face of social pressure, the ability to detach and remain silent is a tool that brings about more control and effectiveness in any situation. In this video, we'll explore how stepping back, staying silent, and embracing Stoic detachment can lead to powerful outcomes. We'll look at how silence allows us to avoid unnecessary drama, preserve our energy, and make decisions that align with our values. The Stoic principles behind this strategy are rooted in the ideas of emotional control, rationality, and self-reflection. We'll also discuss how applying these principles in daily life can help you maintain your peace, strengthen your resolve, and gain respect without having to argue or prove anything. Let's dive into how silence isn't just about holding your tongue. It's about choosing when and how to make your next move with clarity and strength. Understanding the Stoic principle of silence. At the heart of Stoic philosophy is the idea of focusing on what is within our control, our thoughts, actions, and responses, while accepting that we cannot control external events or the behavior of others. This principle is foundational to Stoicism and leads to the practice of emotional control, rational thinking, and mindfulness. In this context, silence becomes a powerful tool. It isn't about staying quiet because we're afraid or unsure. It's about choosing to speak only when it aligns with our values and purpose. The power of silence. Silence in Stoic thought is a strategy for gaining clarity and exercising self-control. When we remain silent, we create space to think before we act or speak. This moment of pause allows us to align our responses with our rational nature, ensuring that our actions and words are thoughtful and deliberate rather than impulsive. In many situations, silence can provide the wisdom needed to avoid unnecessary conflict, preserve our emotional energy, and maintain our dignity. Epictetus, one of the central Stoic figures, advised us against rash actions and words. He believed that when we are provoked or upset, our first impulse is often to react. But this reaction is not always in our best interest. He famously said, "First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This statement encourages reflection before action, a practice that aligns perfectly with the idea of silence. By pausing and considering our response, we can make decisions that are more in tune with our true nature. Silence as strength and restraint. Many people misunderstand silence, thinking it's a sign of weakness or avoidance. In truth, Stoic silence is an act of strength and restraint. It's the ability to withhold unnecessary words and to resist the temptation to engage in trivial or negative exchanges. It requires discipline to hold our tongues when others may be reacting impulsively or emotionally, and this discipline strengthens our resolve and self-control. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, Let silence be your general rule, or say only what is necessary and in few words. This quote highlights the power of choosing silence over unnecessary chatter. Silence in Stoic practice is not about disengagement, but about thoughtful engagement, waiting for the right moment to speak or act with purpose. In the end, the Stoic principle of silence is not about avoiding interaction, but about using silence to cultivate wisdom, self-control, and clarity in every aspect of life. Step back and observe the Stoic approach to detachment. A core Stoic principle is detachment, the ability to step back emotionally from a situation in order to gain clarity and perspective. Instead of reacting impulsively, Stoicism teaches us to create space between the trigger and our response. This moment of detachment allows us to observe the situation more rationally without being swept away by our emotions. By practicing detachment, we can respond to challenges in a way that aligns with our values and reason, rather than letting the heat of the moment dictate our actions. The power of detachment isn't about withdrawing or avoiding situations. Rather, it's about not allowing ourselves to be controlled by external circumstances or emotional reactions. When we detach, we free ourselves from being at the mercy of momentary feelings, which can often lead to regretful decisions. Instead, we become more thoughtful and deliberate in how we act, leading to outcomes that are more aligned with our goals and principles. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, reminds us that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This powerful insight shows that the control we have over our lives lies not in external events, but in how we choose to respond to them. When we detach, we take ownership of our reactions, ensuring they reflect our best selves. Applying detachment in real life. A practical way to apply detachment is by creating space between a situation and your response. In moments of stress or conflict, pause and allow your emotions to settle before deciding how to proceed. This allows you to choose a measured response rather than reacting impulsively. Consider this example. Imagine a person involved in a heated argument with a colleague. The conversation has become emotional, and both parties are becoming defensive. Instead of continuing the argument and saying something they might regret, the person takes a deep breath and steps away. They give themselves a few moments to cool down and regain perspective. When they return, they approach the conversation with more composure, focused on resolving the issue calmly and rationally. By stepping back, they prevent the situation from escalating and handle it in a way that preserves their dignity and the relationship. Another example might be in a professional setting. A manager receives negative feedback from a superior, and their first instinct is to become defensive or frustrated. However, by practicing detachment, they step back, reflect on the feedback, and use the moment to learn and improve. The pause allows them to respond constructively rather than react emotionally, which ultimately benefits both their personal growth and the work environment. By practicing detachment, we develop the ability to master our emotions and reactions. This Stoic approach empowers us to navigate life's challenges with wisdom and composure, making decisions that align with our values rather than being driven by temporary emotions. Stepping back and observing not only prevents rash decisions, but leads to more thoughtful, deliberate actions that contribute to our overall peace and success. The strength of staying silent, mastering self-control. At the heart of Stoic ethics lies the principle of self-control, the ability to maintain mastery over our thoughts, emotions, and actions, regardless of external circumstances. For Stoics, true strength is not in reacting impulsively to every provocation, but in exercising restraint, choosing carefully when to act or speak. Silence, as a powerful tool of self-control, allows us to remain centered, preserving our peace and focusing on our inner virtues rather than getting swept up in the external noise of the world. The power of choosing silence. In moments of conflict, temptation, or provocation, the instinctive urge is often to speak up, defend ourselves, or argue our point. However, Stoicism teaches us that words once spoken cannot be taken back. In many situations, silence is a more powerful response than speaking. When we choose silence, we resist the urge to engage in reactive emotional exchanges. Instead, we protect our inner peace and maintain control over our emotions. Seneca, one of the prominent Stoic philosophers, understood the power of silence well. He said, "Silence is a lesson learned from the many sufferings of life. We should not always be speaking when others are shouting." This quote reflects the Stoic belief that silence is not passive. It is an active decision to focus on maintaining our own dignity and composure. In choosing silence, we avoid the traps of petty arguments and unnecessary conflict, directing our attention instead to the cultivation of virtue. Applying silence in conflict. Silence can be particularly powerful in moments of conflict or when we are provoked. For example, imagine a situation where a person is insulted or criticized unfairly by a colleague. The instinct might be to fire back with a sharp remark or defend oneself immediately. However, by practicing Stoic self-control, the individual refrains from responding impulsively. They take a moment to assess the situation, recognizing that engaging in the conflict would only escalate it and waste emotional energy. Instead, they remain silent, not because they have no response, but because they choose not to feed into negativity. By remaining silent, this person maintains their dignity and emotional balance. In some cases, the lack of reaction itself can be a powerful message. The individual's composure can disarm the aggressor, who may be expecting a defensive or angry reply, and the situation may diffuse naturally. Furthermore, the person who practiced silence can later reflect on the event with clarity and choose the best course of action without the cloud of immediate emotional reactions. Choosing silence in moments of conflict or provocation is a Stoic strategy that emphasizes inner strength and self-control. By resisting the urge to react, we preserve our peace and maintain focus on our virtues, not the noise of external situations. Silence becomes a powerful tool for maintaining self-mastery, allowing us to respond thoughtfully and constructively rather than impulsively. As Seneca reminds us, silence is a tool for inner peace and personal strength, an essential practice in navigating the challenges of life with Stoic wisdom. The reaction of others, the paradox of power through silence. One of the most intriguing aspects of Stoic philosophy is the idea that true power comes from within. Rather than seeking validation, attention, or approval from others, Stoics believe in cultivating self-sufficiency and inner strength. Interestingly, this approach often leads to the paradox that by stepping back and remaining silent, we can draw more attention and even admiration from others. People are naturally drawn to those who exude confidence, calm, and a sense of inner peace, qualities that are often displayed through silence and detachment. The paradox of attraction. Through silence. In many situations, people are driven by a desire to be seen, heard, or acknowledged. In contrast, the Stoic approach encourages us to detach from the need for validation and to focus instead on cultivating our own virtues. When we stop chasing external approval, we paradoxically attract more attention from others. This happens because people often sense when someone is not desperate for their approval or attention, They are drawn to the confidence and composure of someone who is self-sufficient and unmoved by external pressures. By stepping back and remaining silent, we demonstrate a form of strength that others find compelling. Our lack of neediness can make us appear more powerful and mysterious, which naturally draws others in. This doesn't mean manipulating others or playing games, but rather simply embodying a Stoic sense of detachment from the approval or opinions of others. In this way, silence becomes a statement of self-reliance and inner fortitude. Example: the power of detachment. Consider a situation where someone is constantly chasing the approval of their peers, trying to engage in every conversation, or constantly responding to every challenge. Despite their efforts, they often find themselves overlooked or dismissed. Now, imagine someone who, instead of reacting impulsively, chooses to detach and remain silent in moments of tension or provocation. This person doesn't engage in every interaction, doesn't constantly seek attention, and doesn't let external events determine their mood or actions. Over time, others begin to notice this individual's calm demeanor and self-assurance. In a professional context, this might play out when a person is not constantly chasing after leadership positions or recognition. By stepping back, remaining composed and focusing on their work, they may eventually attract the admiration of others who start to recognize their quiet strength and competence. People may even seek them out for advice or leadership because they sense that this person is grounded, confident, and not swayed by the typical drama of office politics. Stoic teaching: power through self-sufficiency. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us in his Meditations, the greatest wealth is to live content with little. This idea reflects the Stoic belief that true power doesn't come from external sources, but from within. When we cease to rely on the approval or attention of others, we cultivate a sense of self-sufficiency and inner peace that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. This internal strength is what others are naturally drawn to, even if they don't fully understand it. The paradox of power through silence lies in the fact that when we stop chasing after the approval of others and focus on our own inner strength, we inevitably attract attention and respect. By practicing detachment and remaining silent in moments of provocation, we demonstrate a form of self-sufficiency and composure that others find admirable. Through this Stoic practice, we not only gain peace and power within ourselves, but also gain the respect of those around us, who begin to see us as a source of stability and wisdom in a chaotic world. Why this works? The psychology behind the Stoic power move. At its core, Stoicism teaches us that true power lies in self-control, rationality, and emotional detachment. This power move, characterized by silence and detachment, isn't just a philosophical concept. It has deep psychological roots that explain why it is so effective in both shaping our own responses and influencing others. By stepping back, remaining silent, and choosing not to react impulsively, we can create a powerful psychological impact, both on ourselves and on the people around us. The psychology of silence and detachment. When we choose silence over words or detachment over engagement, we do more than just control our own emotions. We subtly shift the dynamics of our interactions with others. Psychologically, people are naturally drawn to those who do not seem desperate for attention or validation. When someone maintains their composure and detachment, they signal to others that they are not dependent on external approval for their self-worth. This lack of neediness creates an air of mystery and respect, which often draws others closer, seeking to understand what makes the person so centered and composed. This reaction stems from human nature. People are wired to seek validation, but they also respect and admire those who are self-sufficient and not easily swayed by external influences. When we are silent or detached, we create space where others can reflect on their own behaviors. The absence of reactive engagement allows others to think about their actions and motivations without the distraction of a counter-response. This often causes them to reconsider their approach and, in many cases, pursue a more respectful and thoughtful interaction with us. Example: silence leading to reflection. A real-world example of this psychology in action can be seen in a workplace scenario. Imagine a team member who is regularly involved in heated discussions or office politics. They feel the need to constantly engage, defend their ideas, and seek recognition from others. However, another colleague, who doesn't chase after validation, remains calm and silent during heated meetings, choosing to listen rather than argue. This colleague's detachment doesn't go unnoticed. Over time, the others in the office begin to respect this person's quiet strength and self-assurance. The silent colleague's lack of neediness causes others to pause and reflect on their own behavior. In some cases, colleagues may even approach them for advice, as they start to see them as someone who operates with integrity, not seeking validation, but operating on their own terms. In this scenario, silence is not about disengagement, but rather a powerful tool to draw others in, inspire respect, and create an environment where others reconsider their actions. Stoic perspective on human nature. Understanding human nature is a key component of Stoicism. As Epictetus wisely stated, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This reflects the Stoic idea that self-mastery and understanding others are essential for mastering our own actions. By choosing silence, we not only control our own reactions, but also allow others the space to reflect on their own behavior. In this way, silence becomes an effective tool for creating deeper, more meaningful interactions. The Stoic power move of silence and detachment works on both a personal and psychological level. When we refrain from chasing external validation, we signal self-sufficiency and inner strength, which naturally draws others closer. Silence creates space for reflection, allowing others to reconsider their actions and ultimately leading to more respectful, thoughtful interactions. By understanding the psychological effects of silence and detachment, we can use these Stoic practices to master our own responses while positively influencing the behavior of those around us. Implementing this power move in your own life. Incorporating the Stoic power move of silence and detachment into your daily life requires intentional practice and a commitment to self-mastery. It's not something that can be perfected overnight, but with patience and consistent effort, it can become a natural response in situations where emotional control and composure are key. Practical tips for daily practice. Practice self-awareness and mindfulness. The first step in adopting this Stoic power move is to become more self-aware. Mindfulness is crucial for recognizing moments when a reactive response may not serve you. Pay attention to your emotions. If you notice frustration, anger, or defensiveness rising, take a mental step back. This is the perfect moment to pause and choose silence over impulsive reaction. In moments of stress or provocation, take a few deep breaths and give yourself permission to remain calm. Practicing mindfulness in your everyday interactions will help you cultivate the ability to step back, remain composed, and choose silence when it's most needed. Role-play common scenarios. Visualizing or role-playing potential scenarios where silence would be a powerful response can also be very helpful. For instance, in an argument, if you find yourself in a heated conversation, rather than trying to win the argument or respond in anger, consider staying silent. This allows the situation to de-escalate and gives you time to reflect on how best to respond. At work, If a colleague is being particularly pushy or dismissive, instead of immediately defending yourself or reacting, take a moment of silence. You may find that this allows you to maintain your professional composure and project a calm, confident demeanor. In social situations, at a social gathering where people are gossiping or engaging in drama, silence can set a boundary. By not participating in the noise, you demonstrate your own sense of inner peace and self-sufficiency. Be patient with yourself. Remember, adopting this practice is a journey. It may take time to break old habits of reacting impulsively or seeking external validation. When you slip up, don't be discouraged. Just like any Stoic practice, this requires patience and discipline. The more you practice, the more natural it will become. The goal is not perfection, but progress in mastering your own responses. Final Stoic wisdom. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every moment of silence is a chance for you to practice your self-mastery. The obstacles that arise, the moments of provocation, frustration, or stress, are the very opportunities for you to cultivate discipline and resilience. By implementing the Stoic power move of silence, you are not only controlling your reactions, but also strengthening your character, ultimately becoming a more grounded and composed individual. Incorporating silence and detachment into your life is a powerful Stoic practice that leads to greater emotional control, inner peace, and respect from others. By becoming mindful, practicing in common scenarios, and exercising patience, you can make this Stoic power move a natural part of your daily life. Remember, it's about progress, not perfection. Each step you take towards self-mastery brings you closer to living a life of Stoic virtue. In this video, we've explored the powerful Stoic practice of stepping back, staying silent, and observing how others react to your detachment. The Stoic principle teaches us that by choosing silence and emotional detachment, we cultivate inner strength and self-mastery. By remaining composed and not rushing to engage, we create space for both clarity and reflection, not just for ourselves but for others around us as well. This approach draws respect, minimizes conflict, and enhances our ability to navigate even the most challenging situations. The power of silence is not about weakness or passivity, but rather about choosing when and where to direct our energy. It's about trusting in our own inner peace and detaching from the need for external validation. This Stoic power move empowers us to control our reactions, shape the dynamic of our relationships, and protect our emotional well-being. In the end, it's not the world's noise that shapes us. It's how we choose to respond to it. I encourage you to try implementing this Stoic power move in your own life. Whether it's in a heated argument, a stressful situation at work, or social pressures, step back, remain silent, and watch how others react. Notice how your calm and composed demeanor shifts the energy around you. This practice will help you foster greater emotional control and develop a deeper sense of inner strength. If you enjoyed this video and want more content on Stoicism, self-mastery, and personal development, be sure to subscribe. Together, we can continue exploring how ancient wisdom can help us navigate the complexities of modern life. Final thought. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Every obstacle, every moment of silence, and every instance of detachment is an opportunity for growth. Embrace this power move and watch how it transforms your interactions and your life.